Good morning, Bapak Teuku Rezasyah. Good morning.
Good day. It's an honor to be here again. Thank you.
It's always been a pleasure, Pak Teuku, to have you right here in our show, in the C Morning Show. I remember a couple of days we were talking about social media matters in the Philippines election. Now we're going to shift our focus to our neighboring country, Timor Leste. Now we're going to go to the core matter of this, Pak Teuku. Ramos Horta has been elected twice as the president of Timor Leste back in 2007 and also this year. So, in your opinion, why was Ramos Horta re-elected? And is there any differences between this year's political situation then and back in 2007?
Yes, the case is very unique, yeah. Jose Ramos Horta, 872, representing National Congress for Timorese Reconstruction, won the national election landslide. He won by about 62% and defeated the incumbent president, Francisco Guterres from Fretilin, who won only 37%. This election was competitive and witnessed by international observers, among others from the US, Japan, and European Union. I think we will have a new president in Timor-Leste. He will rule from today for the next 5 years. And earlier on, he used to lead Timor-Leste from year 2007 until year 2012 at the time, yeah. And the years to come will be interesting because compared to with the earlier period, it was not a landslide. So in the past, as we know, he won minimum winning at the what we call it, even margin. And at that time, yeah, he on the 6th of 2000, President had Agus in the leadership. So in this case, at that time, he was the president, and they who won the majority in the parliament became the prime minister. But today he is at the upper hand. He had a landslide victory, so he could better manage the interpolitical rivalries between his own party against Democratic, also against the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste party, and also with the lobby called the Kmanek Haburas Unidade. So in this sense, I really hope, yeah, President will be at the upper hand and will better control the coalition.
Now, good morning, Pak Teuku. Speaking of political rivalries, Ramos Horta pledged this time around to use this 5-year term to break a long-standing deadlock between the two main political parties in Timor-Leste. So, in your opinion, what is the chances of a possibility of a truce between both of these parties?
Well, it is interesting, yeah, because the two candidates, they were supported by the 1970s, and then Ramos Horta campaign was supported by Sanana Gusmao himself, which was considered as the kingmaker in Timor-Leste. And then the campaign between Guterres and Ramos Horta by some analysts was considered as a conflict between Al-Katiri and Sanana Gusmao. Well, this is strange here because Guterres, the incumbent, he was number 2 in the first round of the campaign, but he pursued to have a coalition government with another former Timor-Leste's candidate. In this case, the 4th place candidate names Lere Anantimur. But this guy, the number 4 on the list, Lere Anantimur, refused to back Guterres or Ramos Horta. So since then, the presidential campaign became more challenging. Then the two candidates they provided name calling to each other. Among others, uh, Ramos Horta was considered unfit to be president, blaming him for his past political violence and crisis during his leadership in year uh, 2006. And then the former president that the incumbent president, Francisco Guterres, had violated the constitution. And because in the past, Guterres refused to swear in several ministers from Ramos Horta's party on the ground that they were undergoing legal investigation over corruption. And then also things became more critical when Ramos Horta stated that in event he win the president election, he will dissolve the parliament and call for a new election. This will lead to domestic instability, but I'm quite optimistic because Timor-Leste is considered as the weakest country, the weakest economically country in Southeast Asia. And then Ramos Horta is running on a platform of poverty reduction and then increasing health care for mothers and children, and also help creating job. So his programs are quite popular,
Yeah.
also in economy. And so based on this, I think that the political forces inside the Philippines, inside the Timor Leste, they will unite. What is to be waited is what kind of power sharing will be done among themselves. Yes, we have a president, Ramos Horta, and then the prime minister as the head of the government is to be decided, and then the deputy prime minister is also to be discussed. Minister of Foreign Affairs and other strategic ministers are to be discussed with the power holders, and also not to mention ambassador to the UN, ambassador to the US, ambassador to 10 ASEAN countries, ambassador to Portugal, and ambassadors to EU countries. So there is a need for not only to find who will be the next prime minister, the next deputy prime minister, but how they could promote their ideas better future for Timor-Leste. And this is it is difficult to be achieved. It needs leaders to put their statesmanship forward, not their political ambitions any longer.
Right, and of course, we're very optimistic with Ramos Horta's agenda, hopefully seeing the cabinets also. But one thing that we see that is very consistent with Timor-Leste is the push for ASEAN membership that had started in 2011, intensified during the later half of 2019 when Foreign Minister Dioniso Babu's source visited all 10 ASEAN capitals in the summer, followed by the ASEAN fact-finding missions in Dili in the fall. Now, do you think that Ramos Horta will continue this effort, and what can Timor-Leste really expect after joining the regional bloc, Bapak Teuku?
Yes, I think since Timor-Leste joined the United Nations in September the 7th, 2002, it has been pursuing membership inside ASEAN and also became a member of the ASEAN Regional Forum from 2005 until today. And then inside Indonesia, I am happy to witness the Timor-Leste delegations. They visit ASEAN countries and also attended Indonesian National Days and also ASEAN celebration. In fact, Timor-Leste's foreign policy has placed a high priority on its relationship with Indonesia, especially Indonesia, and then also with other countries inside ASEAN, and maintain cordial relations with donor countries, Australia, the US, European Union, Japan, and Portugal. And then, however, for a new membership inside ASEAN, we need to follow a regulation stated inside the ASEAN Charter. And among others, there are requirements that Timor-Leste needs to receive consensus of all ASEAN member countries. And then I think Timor-Leste is ready because for long, Timor-Leste has become ASEAN's dialogue partner, and Timor-Leste has familiarized itself with the all structures inside ASEAN. And then I think Timor-Leste is also familiar with the ASEAN decision-making mechanism. We call it consultation leading to consensus. And for long, Timor-Leste has received Indonesian strong endorsement. But in this case, Timor-Leste needs to also deal bilaterally with fellow countries inside ASEAN. For example, are there specific interests from countries inside ASEAN? For example, they do not open this in public, but for some countries, they want to have share in the oil exploration at the Timor Gap area. And then I'm confident that Timor-Leste could become a good member of ASEAN, because if we compare with the earlier membership of the new members like Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia, their economies were not very good at that time. But these three countries, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia, they work strongly in line with all requirements stipulated under the ASEAN Vision, ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, and also ASEAN roadmaps. So in this case, considering Timor-Leste's long association with EU countries, Japan, China, and also Indonesia, I find that the time will be right for Timor-Leste to be the next member of ASEAN once ASEAN is under Indonesian chairmanship next year.
Perfect. Now, Pak Teuku, let's talk a little bit of economics. Like many parts of the world, Timor-Leste is also still reeling from the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And according to the World Bank, 42% of the population are still living under poverty. Now, in regards to Ramos Horta and his policies, will they be able to handle this problem?
Difficult question, yeah, for our families in Timor-Leste, because at the moment they are considered to be the poorest nation in Southeast Asia, also in Asia. I think they have to overcome immediate challenges, for example, basic income, health, literacy, and also infrastructure. And also, if we witness what is happening in the rural areas, they have problems of infrastructure and resources. And then it is very difficult for the local government to provide adequate jobs for the country's growing labor force. This we can see the movement of people in the city of Dili, among others. And then Dili, Baukau, they have problems with electrical service and also increasing number of unemployment. And then if we go to different parts of Timor-Leste, we will find that rural families, they have difficult access to electricity and clean water. And then high employment remains there, around 70%. And then, but anyhow, there are hopes here. For example, they can utilize agreements dealing with their oil and gas reserve, and then they could commit themselves to manage their oil better using higher technology. And then they have resources coming from the oil. It can be used for infrastructure. And then there is also need to raise their per capita income, and then in this case, they could expect to utilize their already good relations with the United Nations. And I believe that considering Ramos Horta's majority winning, I think it is not difficult for him to utilize the already good relations with the United Nations, and then the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and also the Asian Union. And from my understanding, if we go to Timor-Leste, we can find buildings built by the Chinese government. I think China is also interested to witness a more prosperous Timor-Leste.
All right. Pak Teuku, thank you so much for this early morning discussion as to the latest developments in regards to Timor-Leste. We really do appreciate your time. Take care. We'll talk to you again really soon.
Have a great one.
Thank you
Pataku.
very much.